Is this thing on, for God's sakes? What is happening here? Yes, I'm drunk out of my mind. No, I could not figure out how to get my desktop to do a live, John Taj Mahal. And I'm not going to be wearing this eye patch long because I'm not going to be able to read your comments. Happy Halloween, everybody. I've been working diligently here in the Sanctum, trying to edit a new episode to get out in time for Halloween, but clearly it is 11:40 p.m. my time, Halloween evening. We're almost towards midnight, and I'm nowhere close to being finished on this episode. But I do plan on getting it out hopefully this weekend. It's getting closer and closer. I'm just such a perfectionist the way I like to have my episodes done. And I hope that some of you can enjoy some Halloween goodness after Halloween. I mean, it's Halloween weekend, right? Or shouldn't it be like the 12 days of Halloween, like the 12 days of Christmas? This looks ridiculous. I need a monocle. I've got reading glasses over an eye patch. Why did I decide to go with this persona? But it's a Kolchak type thing. It's something I did with my daughter when she was very young. I did a Van Helsing from the 1970s, and this is the outfit I sort of came up with, and then that sort of evolved into Dr. Durant, the man you all know and love. Where's the camera? How am I looking at this? I'm sort of reversed here. It's the first time I've done one of these webcam things. So I hope you're all having a wonderful Halloween. I hope you're all enjoying this holiday. I am up here in New England, and it is a cold, blustery All Hallows Eve here. My daughter has a bunch of friends over for a sleepover, so they have driven me from my movie room where I go to watch my Halloween movies. So I'm in here in this beautiful mess, talking to all of you out there in Sanctum Land. Hope you're all enjoying Halloween. Hope you've all watched some good scary movies or read some scary books. I picked up a few graphic novels that I wanted to check out. As a matter of fact, I've got one right here. Oh, and there goes a whole pile of stuff that I haven't had a chance to read yet, but it is called Dracula, Mother Effer. And I got it because it's a really cool graphic novel along the lines. I like the artwork in it. It's very 70s style, 70s-esque, kind of a Blade type character. I'm hoping I'm not going to show any pages that have any nudity or anything like that. So this is one that I definitely want to check out and read. I might do some reading later on tonight if I'm not up all night doing what's it called? Editing, making episodes. All right. Does anyone mind if I lose the eye patch for a bit? It was fun to be dressed up like this in the eye patch, but I got a black light here. It's dark. I need reading glasses to read your comments. The eye patch is coming off. All right, there we go. Oh, what is this? Oh, nothing. My daughter must be logging into Disney. Yes, 5 Silvers at Donna's Donuts. Dracula the Impaler. Patrick O'Donnell says Dracula the Impaler was a fun novel to read. Patrick, I want you to know that your lovely gift sits here very close by me in the Sanctum. Fantastic work. I love it. Oh, there goes a Doctor Strange hand. I'll have to dig around looking for that later. This is the world I've chosen for myself. But one of the things I did want to showcase here this evening, and he is not available, but it's going to give you an upcoming clue as to some upcoming Sanctum episodes. First thing is I love original monster art. You've seen Why Not Tony Art. He's a great artist, and he's done some fantastic pieces for me. But this was made by Big Head Han, who is not on the Facebook group. He's only on Instagram, but he's usually here in the chats when we're chatting. And he did this fantastic piece of the General Mills monsters. You got Boo Berry there, and Count Chocula, Frankenberry, Yummy Mummy, and Fruit Brute. He calls it the Monster Mash. If I can get this in a little bit better. And this is a really great little poster he's done. And I'm planning on doing a piece on monster premiums. In other words, stuff that fast food giveaways, cereal prizes, things along those lines. Yeah, it is pretty amazing. It is gorgeous. And I have so much stuff I want to frame. I wish I had the wall space. Look at, got the masks up there. I might have to take some of them down. Now, I purchased this from him, and it's still available on his Instagram site. Very reasonably priced. I hope you can see that with the glare off the computer screen. But he sent me a bunch of extra goodies with this. Let's take a look at some of them. He is a big Wolfman fan, and he's currently working on a comic book that he calls The Fang Gang. Something along the lines of, I guess you'd say, what is it? Groovy Ghoulies, along those lines. It's sort of a 70s group of punk werewolves that hang out on BMX bikes, smoking and drinking and skateboarding and causing trouble. I love the style of his artwork here. I'll showcase these in a better light when I get a chance. Like I said, I'm just sitting here in a black light. The black light makes me look much more appealing. When I was here in the regular, I just looked. I had this horrid Victorian complexion. I looked like I was wasting away. I looked like the Invisible Man Collegeville costume. You could see my veins and arteries just glowing through my skin. My lovely Irish complexion. And that is one there on a BMX bike. He's got these all named and stuff like that too. The characters, there was a little guide that came with this. And if this doesn't give you a clue, what the episode that I'm working on is the Wolfman. I've done the Frankenstein Files. I did the Dracula dossier last year where I covered Dracula costumes. I was working on Wolfman costumes. I did get a late start this year. My daughter had a lot of stuff going on, and I had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. But this one is fantastic. You can see that he is actually wearing a Wolfman costume right there. It's a Ben Cooper Wolfman. He's out trick-or-treating with his pumpkins full of candy. And he sent all these just free, no charge. I like this one. Guy's got a, he's wearing like the famous Monsters shirt. I'm seeing myself on the camera here, and that eye patch looks fantastic on my forehead along with these reading glasses. But hey, this one's a black and white version of it. Really cool. You may be able to hear my daughter and her friends in the next room chattering away. This one he calls Werewolves on Wheels. Yeah, Patrick, I don't know if he has a Kickstarter or no. The website is www.fanggang.com. Now, make sure you do not get a typo while typing that out, or you're going to go to an entirely different website that may or may not be your cup of tea. This one is Thrash by Night. Yeah, he does some fantastic work. You should check him out on. I'm friends with him on Instagram. He comes into the chat all the time. He's always here when we're doing the lives and we're talking about the the variety of different Vincent Price Sunday story times. Pardon me while I sip my drink. I'm a little parched. Cycle of the Moon. I like this one. He's got a Werewolf by Night style shirt on there. And Big Head Han, he likes all the same stuff that I do, that you do, that all you guys do. And these ones I can't show. He sent some ones that are a little risque. I'm not going to chance it. But that's the Fang Gang. And the real one that I really loved, of course, was the Monster Mash, which is fantastic. I love the General Mills monsters. Every year I think I have this conversation with people. I purchase a General Mills monster cereal, and every year it sucks. Does not taste the way that stuff should taste. It's because they went from oat to corn, and it just tastes. It's like eating this weird shellacked piece of garbage. And every year I think I'm going to eat it, and I'm going to be able to taste my childhood, and I can't. It's awful. Get this eye patch off my head so I don't look like a complete maniac. All right, now I just look like I'm a little. I'm working in a pawn shop. What have you got? You call this a Lincoln Wolfman, huh? Doesn't look like Abraham Lincoln at all. Jokes are free, ladies and gentlemen, as is this stream. So, as I was saying, I was working on a Wolfman episode to cover werewolf and Wolfman costumes throughout the years from the 60s on up into the 80s and 90s. And it got a little away from me, as things usually do, because I just jabber on and on and on about this stuff. And I had more stuff I wanted to add, more stuff I wanted to edit. It's close to the point, but I didn't want to just rush it and get it out there. And I feel terrible that I don't have a Halloween episode out, because I have never missed a Halloween episode. And this last year has just been a little rough with things. So this is what I enjoy doing. And I wanted to come in here and just chat with all you guys and hang out with you guys for Halloween for a while. See some of the things here. Patrick says, I hope he has a Kickstarter. Yep, I hope he does too. Oh, Pat's going to check out both websites. Enjoy. Make sure you don't let your wife see your browser history. Look at these reading glasses. What is going on? Wow. Welcome to Dr. Durant's Sanctum. That was it was a little bit of sort of Christopher Lloyd, but at the same time, I think I was doing Foster Brooks. I just have too much pop culture rattling around in my head. That's what I was hoping, Pat, that every day is like Halloween, because I have so many costumes. I can't only do them at Halloween, and I can't put them all together in October. So I was going to do some costume episodes throughout the year. Well, you know why my Bing Crosby sounds like Dean Martin, Patrick? Because Dean Martin, he based his singing voice and his cadence on Bing Crosby, which is funny. They do sound very similar, but that's who Dean Martin modeled himself on when he was getting his start. I've actually been listening to a fantastic podcast about the rise of Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr., both fantastic singers whom I love, along with Bing Crosby. Well, hey, looks like we got a runaway golf ball. What's this? The Fang Gang. Boy, these look like a couple of hairy hippies. They could use get their dirty bare feet out of here. But I don't know. I have nothing against hippies. I don't know why I made that joke. It seems like something that Bing Crosby would do. Did Bing Crosby like hippies? I don't think so. But so let's hear, what have some of your Halloween watches been? I did get a good start early this October. That was part of it, is rather than coming in here late at night and working on episodes, because I only operate at night like a werewolf or a vampire, because my family's around during the day, and they just like, what are you doing in there? What's a Halco? Stop screaming Halco. Vincent Price doesn't live in our house. We're tired of that. We're tired of that voice. Stop doing it. For God's sakes, take the trash out. By the way, where did all these fucking costumes come from? I'm sorry, I swore. But some of the stuff I wanted to watch and I was watching, and I chat a little bit with John. We chat off mic, as they say, about things. And I was really in a Val Luton mood this Halloween, and I started out with early on with some of the Val Luton ones. I watched Karloff's Isle of the Dead and the original Cat People, which both were really, really good. And then, of course, I watched The Wolfman to prepare for this episode that I'm working on. And I'm trying to think some of the other ones I watched. I watched Blood on Satan's Claw, which I had not seen because I was in sort of a folk horror mood. I had planned to do 2 episodes. I had planned to do one on The Wolfman and one on witches. And I may do witches in November, just because November's still a witchy season to me. But I did watch the original Chaney Wolfman, which was fantastic, always is. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that I may have watched. Oh, I watched An American Werewolf in London. Now, yeah, I Walked with a Zombie is great, and I did pick up the Criterion version of that, John, when they had the Criterion sale over the summer. I just have stacks of movies stacked up by my TV and Blu-ray player. Like, I'll go like, I'm going to watch these. And I have like 8 movies. I think I'm going to watch 8 movies in a night. I'm halfway through one, and I'm like my dad used to be. But I watched An American Werewolf in London, which I had not seen in a long time. And I have to say, it's a good movie. It's got some great things. I'm a Howling fan. Out of the two, I prefer The Howling. I always thought The Howling was the better werewolf picture. And over the years, my opinion has soured a little bit because Landis. Yes, I watched The Black Cat. Thank you, John. John's reminding me of the things I watched. Love The Black Cat. Black Cat's one of my favorites. I watched a lot of 30s horror. That's right. I watched Mad Love as well. And I just got the Criterion Curse of Frankenstein 4K edition Hammer. So I'm really looking forward to that. Pat says, I bought a TV guide from the date I was born and decided to watch 2 horror movies listed. House on Haunted Hill and Murders in the Rue Morgue. Okay, is it the Murders in Rue Morgue with Lugosi, or is it the Murders in Rue Morgue with Herbert Lom that they kind of did in the, I think it was late 60s, early 70s? That one, and I think they did that one in 3D or something like that. That's a fun one because I think I have the Scream Factory edition of that. It's a double feature of, I believe it's the Dunwich Horror is on it and the Murders in Rue Morgue. That's actually one that's in my pile to watch out there in the room where all the children are driving me away from my movie room. Again, I watch movies late at night too. Sleepy Hollow's one I always like to watch. Lugosi, okay. Yeah, that Lugosi one's really good, and it's interesting. Who directed that one now? It was the guy that he had initially wanted to direct a bunch of different films for Universal, and they kept kind of screwing him over. I'm going to have to IMDb it here. He's the same guy, I believe, that directed the great movie Detour, the old sort of Poverty Row noir that is actually fantastic. This is just ginger ale. It's not booze. And you know why the other one, that Lugosi one is good, Patrick? I love a good ape costume. If it's a good ape costume, it just, I know people think it's cheesy, but Robert, yes. And he was going to direct some other stuff at Universal. I believe he was initially going to direct, I want to say, I think he was initially going to direct Frankenstein, and then they brought James Whale in because James Whale had done so well with that World War I picture. Not All Quiet on the Western Front. It was another one like The Journey Home or something like that. It was a big hit, and so Universal allowed him to direct Frankenstein, which is probably for the best because it was fantastic. Robert Florey, that's right. The Old Dark House. Yeah, now there's two versions of The Old Dark House. There's the James Whale one, which it's it's fun in a way, because what you got to think of is the like Halloween, right? If you show Halloween now to a young person, they're like, "What? This is so cheesy. It's so tacky. I've seen all this." It's because Halloween sort of helped form that genre of the slasher picture of the stalker, the holiday horror movie. Even though Black Christmas came first and a few others, but people see Halloween and they don't realize that that was a pioneer in that type of film. And the Old Dark House is the same thing. It was sort of a pioneer in the old dark house mystery, which now is very cliche. People getting trapped in a storm and having to stay in a creepy old mansion. It has its creepy moments, but I agree with you. I watched it a few Halloweens ago, and it was a little bit of a snooze. Journey's End. That's it. I knew Journey was in there. Thank you, Patrick. You're glad you guys are here on the IMDb. Yeah, exactly, John. It's very much like a stage play. Now, one double feature that I did want to watch was that I thought would be good is Night of the Demon and Burn Witch Burn. John, I think you watched Burn Witch Burn. I know Burn Witch Burn is also known as Night of the Eagle. That is a fantastic movie. It used to always be on Creature Double Feature where I live, Burn Witch Burn, and it's so good. And speaking of which, I might as well showcase a Halloween mask here. I picked this up recently. It is a Starband mask, but the reason I like it is it reminds me quite a bit of the demon from Night of the Demon, but even more so, it's actually kind of like the moon monster. If you remember the moon monster that was advertised in the back of comic books and famous monsters, uh, it kind of looks like that too. Which I think the moon monster was actually trying to emulate itself as the Night of the Demon. But Night of the Demon is always a favorite, and I know there's the big debate like whether they should have shown the demon or not, and I think they should have. I love the demon. I love the way it looks. It's really cool looking, even when it's just sort of silhouetted there in the steam from the trains coming down the railroad tracks, and there's a shot where the demon is just sort of tearing apart the guy on the railroad tracks. You see it's unsettling because it's a practical effect too, and it's probably one of the only Val Lewton ones where they really kind of show the monsters. Because Val Lewton's thing was always that it's what we don't show, what people fill in with their mind that's more terrifying. Patrick says, without the demon, the movie would have just been The Lost Weekend. That is a scary one. When the bat is what? No, a mouse comes out of a hole and then a bat flies in and eats it, and I think it's like they fed a mouse. They fed a mouse to a real bat. That scene that creeped me out in that movie. But I think you guys should check out Big Head Hans Fang Gang. He is currently at an all-night drive-in, uh, watching movies all night long. I got the Mahoning Drive-In in Pennsylvania. Lucky him. I'm not going to be watching anything tonight. I'm going to be reading some books. I think see if I've got another one here that I picked up. Oh. Well, I did pick up this at Walmart the other day. It is a mini Great Garloo, $5 on clearance. I said, what the hell? It's blue, but the reason I got it is, maybe John, you might know this. When I was in summer camp as a kid, on rainy days they would show us 16 millimeter movies. They would just take us into the summer camp was in a school, so they bring us into the gymnasium and they show us these old movies. And one of the movies was a stop motion movie or puppets, or like marionette puppets, something like that. It was more stop motion, I think, claymation type thing. And it was a Japanese film. I swear to God, it was Japanese. And it was about two giants. a red giant and a blue giant that were friends. They looked kind of monstrous. They looked kind of demonic, and one of the giants wanted to be loved by people, so the other giant terrorized like a community so that the other giant could stop him and become a hero to the people. But then the other giant wouldn't be friends with the giant that helped him, and it was whatever. I forget what the parable of the story was, but it was all about friendship or whatever. But that great Garloo reminds me of the blue giant from that film, and I have never been able to figure out the name of that movie. It was not War of the Gargantuas. I know what War of the Gargantuas is. Although that would be a nice plot twist for War of the Gargantuas. War of the Gargantuas, of course, is one of my all-time favorite kaiju movies. I loved War of the Gargantuas. Absolutely fantastic film. One of the best. So, John, what have you been watching? What are some of the films that you've been checking out? You watch quite a lot of movies. I know you got some stacked up for tonight too. You've been on a sort of Spanish horror kick. I do have my Scream Factory Paul Nashies out over there, ready to go at some point too. I watched a few of those last Halloween, and I believe I watched that Arrow set that was the Japanese um vampires. Was it like the Toho vampires? That was a pretty good one. Lake of Dracula, things like that. But I'm in kind of a witchy mood. I want to watch, ones about witches and warlocks and some folk horror stuff. I have the first folk horror set that from Severin that I've been making my way through some of the movies on that. And one of the extras on that I do watch every Halloween is they have an animated short of the Legend of the Headless Horseman, the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and it is narrated by John Carradine, and it's really good. The animation style in it is cool. I'm sure if you check YouTube, it must be up on YouTube somewhere. But it's interesting. A lot of those films that are kind of lost that they made for educational purposes, they would show either in before movies or just show to schools. I know there's another one that was an extra on Hellboy, I believe, an animated version of the Telltale Heart that is really, really good. Speaking of Hellboy, Guillermo del Toro, is anybody looking forward to his version of Frankenstein? Bunch of Paul Nashi werewolf movies and the Blood trilogy from Toho. Yeah, that's I watched part of the Blood trilogy last year, and I watched the Paul Nashi one. I think I watched The Hunchback of the Morgue is what I watched last year, which was good. Crazy, crazy, crazy movie, but I did enjoy it. It's always fun to find out that there's all these movies that you haven't seen, and sometimes I'll go and I'll just watch the same shit over and over again. Like I just go to these ones that are comforting. Like I've seen The Wolfman hundreds of times, but I had to watch it this Halloween, especially because I'm working on a Wolfman episode. I really loved it. Now, what's this one? Not really. I know the plot already. Oh, the you're talking about the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein. Yeah, I wanted to see. Hey, Demonzilla. Yes, War of the Gargantua was awesome, awesome flick. I wanted to see Frankenstein. I have to say, every time Guillermo del Toro puts a movie out, I am a tad disappointed. I always want to like his movies, and there's just something about them that I never really do. Uh, I liked Mimic at the time when I saw it in the theater. It was kind of interesting. I enjoyed Blade 2. That had its moments. I did not like The Shape of Water at all. Everybody was crazy about that. I didn't like the other one that he does there. My brain's not working. It's late at night. The one with the little girl and all the fantasy creatures and the guys like this with his eyes. It's cool, but I just didn't like the movie. He's been talking about for years about his At the Mountains of Madness. I'm going to make At the Mountains of Madness. Is that a Guillermo del Toro imitation? That no, it wasn't. That was almost like a French person that I just did. Kronos. I haven't seen Kronos in a long time, and I haven't seen The Devil's Backbone. Pan's Labyrinth. That's it. I didn't really like Pan's Labyrinth. I thought the effects were cool, and even Hellboy was a little cold for me. I looked at it and I thought it looked beautiful, and it looked like the comic. I loved the beginning of Hellboy with World War II and then finding him as a baby. And I love John Hurt in Hellboy, and it's sad when he gets killed. But it just Guillermo del Toro's films, as emotional as he seems to want to make them, they seem kind of soulless to me. If I could say that, I'm not. That's just my opinion. I know people love his stuff. Visually, it's awesome, right? It's exciting. It's gothic. It's crazy. But there always just seems to be nothing there that touches me emotionally. Now I'm seeing the same thing in his Frankenstein. I want to like it to a certain degree because I'm like, oh, I love the idea of the Arctic part of Frankenstein where, the guy, he's on the ship and he's telling the story to the captain, and then the monster comes on board the ship and tells his version of the story. And some of the visuals look really cool, but I think that it's going to be kind of empty. John says that the first Hellboy is probably my favorite of his films. I understand what you're saying, Joe. Yeah, I liked the first Hellboy too, John. It had some great moments, and I had been a fan of the comic, of course. And there were things in it that I really liked. But at the end, I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to go back and watch it again or not. And I own it, and I have the second one too. And the second one just went bananas. And I thought it was going to be kind of good. And I don't know. I think he could make something. And what I'm disappointed in with Frankenstein is I thought that Del Toro was going to go all out and do a Bernie Wrightson Frankenstein. If anybody was going to do a Wrightson Frankenstein, it was going to be Del Toro, because he talks about it, and I think he owns like tons of the original artwork, the Wrightson artwork for Frankenstein, stuff like that. And I'm like, well, this is what he's going to do. He's not going to do a Karloff Frankenstein or anything along those lines. He's going to do a Wrightson Frankenstein. And of course, I see it, and it's just okay. Here's his cut. It's sort of a jigsaw face. And I know it's just one photo. I haven't seen others, but I was kind of disappointed by the reveal. Emotionally, he's a little disconnected. I wanted the creature to be evil. Oh, well, Patrick says, yeah. Armchair Viking. Sorry I'm late. Hey, Juan. Now, talk about art. Juan, we showcased some artwork from Armchair Viking, but Juan Torres is killing it with the customs in the Migo community. He's been posting these amazing Migo customs. And by the way, all three of you that I see here tonight, John, Patrick, and Juan, I wish I had your talent. All I can do is I can throw on a hat and an eye patch and then say, the eye patch is bothering me. I need my reading glasses. And then do Bing Crosby for like 5 seconds. That's my talent. You guys are so talented with the stuff you do. I showcased that thing that John had here. Juan he made an amazing Unknown Soldier. So did Patrick. Patrick showed one. John, you're always putting together, kit bashing all this stuff. Graveyard skeletons, everything. It's just incredible the skill you guys have to do that stuff. But Juan was doing some amazing stuff. Really, really cool Migos. Migo style figures, boxes and all, and everything like that in the Migo communities. Posted a few of them. Every time I see one, I'm like, is that what? That's Juan Torres? Because Juan, I also love your original clay work, like the stuff that you like the Frankenstein and the Mr. Hyde and the Mummy and the Fly that you sent me. Those are so good. And the Shockwaves one that you did, that was chef's kiss, as they say. Is somebody kissing chefs around there? Oh, there he is. Vincent Price. Yeah, John always makes good customs, Demonzilla. You would trade my talent for anything on my back shelf. Yeah, well, my wife may make me take you up on that offer, Patrick. Yeah, John does fantastic customs. I mean, John's channel is great. Bionic Vampire Ninja. Patrick, I don't think he has a channel, but you know, actually, I chat with all you guys through Facebook Messenger or whatever, and I enjoy chatting with all you. I consider you guys, you know, my. This is the way that people correspond now, right? Like we're like Robert E. Howard and H.P. Lovecraft corresponding without the racism. But I did watch some thriller episodes. I watched some thriller episodes and some night galleries. I watched the Pigeons from Hell, which is a fantastic uh, Robert E. Howard horror story. And I was talking to somebody, and I don't think he's here tonight, but we were talking about Robert E. Howard, and he said that Robert E. Howard's folk horror stuff is vastly underrated. I mean, clearly he's known for Conan the Barbarian, Cull. Solomon Kane is one of my favorite characters. I have always loved Solomon Kane. I've dug the look of him, the Marvel comic they did of him. I have all the novelizations, the novels that have been done of him. He's kind of a Van Helsing style character, and they've never been able to do him right in film for some reason. They did make a Solomon Kane movie, and I watched a little bit of it, and it didn't really grab me. Same with the new. I watched the new Conan when Jason Momoa did Conan, and I couldn't get through that one either. Yeah, I'm enjoying you guys sitting here chatting with you. This is the first time I've tried something like this. I usually do not put my face on camera for obvious reasons. Um, but I decided I'd do a little live as Dr. Durant, something for Halloween to just connect with you guys, talk with you guys. Hopefully, I'll have this episode done and up by the end of the weekend. I'm about halfway through it right now. Let's see. John says, going to go into the comments here. Armchair Viking says, best place to be on Halloween. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I really wasn't feeling the Halloween spirit for the last couple of weeks. And even today, I was so stressed just I'm like working and then trying to get this episode done. I'm like, I want to get it done for tonight. And I was just so disappointed that I didn't have something out for the day of Halloween. But ultimately, it's really you guys, this handful of guys here, and I know you guys will accept it whenever it comes in. Uh John says I watched a couple of the Tales from the Dark Side episodes, the Halloween one and the Savini Monster in the Closet one. I love the Savini Monster in the Closet one. That is with someone remind me who the actor is. He was in he's actually in Creepshow. He's in the Crate episode. But that is a fantastic episode, and I remember reading about that in Fangoria, and they showed Tales from the Dark Side showed in my market at midnight on Sunday. So I would have to stay up till midnight on Sunday to watch Tales from the Dark Side. And you know, that was a real cheaply produced show. And I think they shot it out of like Pittsburgh or New York, probably Pittsburgh because it was Romero, right? So you had a lot of New York actors that were close by coming in to be in that show. And in retrospect, it's really good. But as a kid, a lot of not really a kid, I think I was junior high, high school, watching it, I'd be bored out of my mind with some of the more talky episodes. But I remember eventually seeing the episode with the Savini Monster in the Closet because I was Savini's number one fan back in the day. As I'm sure all you guys were. I loved Savini, Romero, Stephen King, Cronenberg, Carpenter, all these guys that were immortalized in Fangoria. I would read about them in Fangoria, I knew all about them. And I have an interesting Savini story. Well, I'll read some more of these things here. There's a collection of REH Mythos stories in print and on audiobook. I think I have one of his Cthulhu. They say it's a Cthulhu one. I'm sure they updated it. You look great. The Dracula stones keep you young. Well, thank you, Juan. You're very kind. It's a fun one. I have the series on DVD, but they don't have any plans to upgrade it to Blu-ray. You know, Could they upgrade it to Blu-ray though, John? Because I noticed like a lot of those later shows that were kind of shot on the cheaper on video, like say for example X-Files. Does that look any better on Blu-ray? Because that was sort of shot like in a weird digital file. So I noted that sometimes when they upgrade those to Blu-ray, they come out looking really weird. Yeah, exactly. Uh I don't know what the Halloween episode is in Tales from the Dark Side off the top of my head. Another great show that's out there is you ever hear of Monsters? I'm sure you have. I think you can watch that on Tubi. That's got some interesting ones because that went strictly like it was only going to do monsters. They only wanted to talk about monsters, and it has a monster in every episode. Some of those are kind of fun to watch. I love anthology horror. That's something I love to watch during Halloween as well. I would watch a lot of the Amicus ones like Asylum or Doctor Terror's House of Horror, The House That Dripped Blood, things like that. Just the short stories, little bite-sized pieces. It's like eating buckets of fun-sized candy watching anthology horror during Halloween. And that's why I always throw on an episode of, say, Night Gallery or Thriller. I love Thriller. Thriller is one that did not play in my market as a kid. I had always heard about it. You'd read about it in horror movie magazines or horror movie books, and I'd always because I was a huge Boris Karloff fan. I'm like, why can I not see this show? This is pre VCR, pre cable, everything. So you had to find stuff in syndication, and it just never played in my market. So when that I remember a guy got me a 16 millimeter bootleg of Pigeons from Hell that was dark and grainy, and I would watch that and try and figure out what was going on. Yeah, Night Gallery. I remember when it first came out on DVD, I was like, "Ooh, these aren't that great," and now I love them. Like they've come around and they've been much better. It's the one where the guy hoards the money on Halloween night and a real witch comes to his house. All right, I'm gonna have to check that out. Tubi is my go-to. Tubi and Pluto, they have a lot of really cool stuff on there that you can watch. Old exploitation films, horror movies. It's like being in a video store, finding all that cool stuff. And of course, I have a massive DVD collection, Blu-ray, etc. The first episode of the first season. All right, I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. And I had the Hammer Frankenstein movies stacked up to watch too. I was waiting for Curse to come in. Curse of Frankenstein. I'm trying to see if I've got anything else I can showcase here within arm's reach that's fairly recent that I've got. That mask. I know there's piles of stuff behind me. I I am like Forey Ackerman now. This is and this is how they're gonna find me. My wife's gonna come in one day and I'm just gonna be dead. My current wife. I like to refer to her as my current wife. Keeps her honest. This is my current wife. I always introduce her that way. Yeah, I know Tubi throws the commercials in at the weirdest places too. I love Cushing as Frankenstein too, and I think that was one of the brilliant things that Hammer Films did. Is they had Cushing as they had rather than the monster being the thing that travels through the films like the Universal films. Cushing, the doctor, is the one that keeps surviving and creating different monsters everywhere he goes. The doctor is the villain, or as they say, you know, knowledge is knowing that Frankenstein is the doctor, not the monster. Wisdom is knowing that Frankenstein is the monster. Something like that, whatever that saying is. But yeah, I love that. And of course, he's hands down Cushing is the greatest Van Helsing ever. No doubt about it. He is the best Van Helsing. I love him as Van Helsing. Shockwaves is on Tubi. Yeah, I believe it's the Anchor Bay. Ooh, how old am I? Anchor Bay. That used to be the prestige format for exploitation films. Uh I think I have the Anchor Bay DVD of Shockwaves, which is a fun movie. Cushing's in that too. It's not the greatest movie, but it's a cool idea, and visually, there's a lot of cool stuff. Again, Juan, if you guys haven't seen it, I think he posted it on the Sanctum page. If you guys are on the Sanctum Facebook page, that Shockwave zombie that you did in that sort of claymation style, whatever you call it, that was awesome. Uh, and the same thing with he sent me a couple, and one of them's going to show up in an episode later on down the line. I've got so many episodes planned, but life just keeps getting in my way. I just wish I could sit here and do this nonsense all day long. But que sera, sera, as they say. Scary Nazi zombies. Yeah. And I think it's better than those Dead Snow movies, which I wanted to like. I watched them and I wanted to enjoy them. I only saw the first one. It was okay. It has its interesting points, and I know they made a second one. Maybe I got to check it out. I'm trying. You know what I saw recently? Has anyone seen Sinners? Everybody was raving about that movie Sinners. That it was so great and it was really fantastic, and it was okay. I was underwhelmed by it. I wanted to like it, and that seems to be what most modern horror is for me nowadays. I'm one of those old guys like, what, yeah, boo. But I get it. You have to invite the vampire in. That's the whole point. And then so it becomes a sort of Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead type standoff where they're in the barn holding off the vampires. Even goes from dusk till dawnish. It had some cool moments in it, but there was nothing in it that really blew me away. It was enjoyable while I watched it. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't this great horror movie that everybody said it was going to be. Michael Fassbender plays an incredible, scary Nazi zombie in a movie called Blood Creek. Okay, I'm going to have to check that out. That's awesome. I haven't heard of that one. And then I saw Oz Perkins, The Monkey, which was based on a Stephen King story. And I had read the short story years ago, but I didn't enjoy that one. It had it was trying to be funny, and it was over the top gore is how it was trying to be funny, but there was no stakes. And I think that's what was disappointing about it. Like, if you're going to do horror comedy, you still have to have stakes. You still have to care about the characters, and then you can throw in the funny stuff as well. It's not just all slapstick over the top gore. And no, that wasn't based on Monkey Shines. It was based on a Stephen King story just called The Monkey, which is kind of like almost like a version of The Monkey's Paw, I believe. What happens is the guy owns one of those monkeys that claps the cymbals. And anytime the cymbals clap together, something horrible happens. Like someone dies in a horrible way. And the guy can't get rid of this monkey. And so the film just shows us that, yeah, Sinners was all right. It wasn't awful, but I was expecting to be great. I haven't seen Weapons yet. I did get rid of HBO Max for the time being because it was getting a little too pricey, and I'm waiting to see if they offer some sort of Black Friday deal for subscriptions, and then I'll get HBO again. I need to get Netflix too. We dropped Netflix. Well, we didn't drop it. They caught me using my sister's password and kicked me off. But because I do want to see the end of Stranger Things. I have enjoyed that, I have to say. Yes, it's like Final Destination, but with a monkey. That's right, John. It's exactly like that. Patrick O'Donnell says, if Hollywood keeps making these mediocre horror films, I might start collecting bees instead. That's an interesting thing to collect, bees. And then Juan, always the optimist. At least you get honey, Patrick. That's true. As a matter of fact, I went to a farmer's market last weekend and bought some fresh local honey. It's delicious. I have it on toast with my my Irish butter. That my wife is like, why are you buying this expensive Irish butter? They have regular butter at the grocery store. It's cheaper. And I'm like, this is Irish butter. It's delicious. Can I have one thing in my life that I enjoy? You harpy, queen of the harpies. Sorry, we're turning into Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf here. My wife is a lovely woman. She really is. I'm not. I'm just making jokes. Take my wife, please. Um. Yep. At least you get the honey there. But I wanted to watch Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. That was one of the other ones that I wanted to watch this season because that's always a fun one. Irish butter is amazing. I agree. Yep, Kerry Gold. Get it at the Costco. You get like these, it's like gold bricks, and it is really good. Weapons was good for a one-time watch. I don't feel like seeing it again though. Yeah, John, everyone is saying it's really good. And I've tried to avoid reading anything about it or hearing anything about it because I don't want it to be spoiled with whatever the reveal is or the twist, if there's a twist. I never saw Barbarian, which was I think the director did that one too. And I did try watching one of the Terrifier movies, the first Terrifier. I cannot get into the Terrifier series. I don't know why. I know people love it. People that Art the Clown is everywhere now, and more power to them. I mean, they started off as a very low budget independent movie. I think it was a short first, and then it just exploded into this franchise. Um, it's more shocking, enjoyable once, and that's it. Is that Weapons or is that the Terrifier movie? I'm guessing you're talking about Weapons still. That's what I thought. You don't like those Terrifier ones, do you, John? I think you and I talked about that one time. How about any monster merch? Anybody pick up any good, decent monster merch this Halloween season? I know there's some things out there. How's everyone feel about these NECA figures where a NECA is going with the Halloween costume figures? I think they're doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles next, and they just did a wave of 80s slasher figures, which I saw the Halloween 2 one in the store, and I was just like, no. I did pick up some of the other ones, though. I picked up Jaws, I picked up Tarman, The Fly. Uh, some of those I got just because I like those franchises, and I do like some of the costumes. Yes, the custom Dr. Durant one is very, very cool. That was made by Alexander Heftik of BKC Toys, who was the guy that sort of, as far as I know, I mean, I know there were other people in the Mego community making the Ben Cooper style figures, but he really fused Ben Cooper costumes with Lincoln Monster bodies to two great tastes that taste great together for monster kids, uh, which was really cool. I also saw this the Lincoln Monsters thing, and I'm gonna do a Lincoln Monsters episode down the line. But the new Lincoln Monsters Kickstarter came out today from a few people, and that looks really, really good. I am actually digging those figures. I think they're going to do Tomlands as well. They're doing a more of 3 3/4 inch or 6 inch or whatever. They're smaller figures, kind of more along the lines of Star Wars figures, I think. But I think those look really, really good. Yeah, I have a bunch of the Ben Cooper ones, the early ones. One, I don't. Is it $80 for 4 figures? I might. I mean, if you think about it, that's what it is at the store now. If you go to buy a Super 7, John, they're $20. There's nothing cheap anymore. I was at Walmart the other day trying to taking a look at some stuff, and I think like the Marvel Legends are like $24.99 now or something like that. It's some crazy price. I'm trying. Okay, the Batman animated series from McFarlane is out, the new wave, and it's got a Batman, Ra's al Ghul, Killer Croc, and the Gray Ghost, which I normally wouldn't buy. I do like those figures, and I have a lot of the original ones that came out in the 90s because I love that retro look, that sort of noir look of those figures in the old style, old school animation. But the reason I wanted this one is because it's Build a Figure, and the Build a Figure is Jonah Hex, who I love. I love Jonah Hex, and so I have to have a Jonah Hex in that style. And on friggin' eBay to find people already have them for sale for hundreds of dollars, just the Build a Figure version of them. I've only been able to find two of the figures in the stores. I found Batman, I found Ra's al Ghul. I can't find the Gray Ghost, and I can't find Killer Croc with the remaining parts to finish my Jonah Hex. Let's see. NECA is cranking out way too much. I had to scale back. Yeah, I agree that they were going the way of Funko Pops. It was just everything was coming out, and wave after wave after wave. They'd announce one, and 2 days later, a next wave is coming out. Yeah, and you know what? I did. I think some of you guys did here too. The Marvel Legends are $27.99 now. I ordered Werewolf by Night, the Phantom Rider, or as he's originally known, he's the original Ghost Rider, and the World War II Wolverine, and then the Crystar guy, because I love those Crystar figures. They're really cool. Um, and I just got notification from Amazon that they're gonna ship in December rather than January, so that's kind of interesting. The new Marvel Legends has made some good stuff. The Werewolf by Night looks good. I did get the Man Thing, that was really good. I got the Crystar when Crystar came out. He looked great. They're kind of killing it with those. I'm gonna listen to my wife for this purchase. What's that? No. That's what Pat's saying. No dice. The Gray Ghost was cool. Amazon just sent me notice for the werewolf figure. Yeah, I got the same thing, John. So it's definitely coming out earlier than expected, which will be a nice little Christmas present. But I'll be working on that Wolfman episode and hopefully have something out this weekend on it. And I've got a few other episodes I want to work on that I've got planned in the books. It's just sometimes I have uh, artistic blocks or just can't get to sitting there and doing them. I know I always say, like, these take time. I'm trying to make quality content. And you watch my episodes and you're like, this is quality content. This is what took a month to do. That poor bastard. Poor bastard, as my father would say. Ah, look at that guy. Poor bastard. Sinjiner figures. No, I did not. Who was making that? Devilman from Figma is a really good figure, even though it's an older figure. Okay. That one I don't know. You know what I did just get? And I think it was because it was I blame either Pat, I either blame you or I blame Johnny Taj Mahal. I got the Jersey Devil. That just showed up a week ago because you guys were like, "Oh, they're doing a release. You got to get it." I do like it. It's a cryptozoological figure, and I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do for Christmas because every Christmas I need one for my Christmas episode. Every Christmas they release something to do with the Scrooge story. They've done Jacob Marley. They did the Ghost of Christmas Past. I'm hoping they're going to do Christmas Future this year, or they might do Christmas Present. But I'd love to see a really cool Christmas. Although, you know what? It sounds like they're going in order. Marley, Past. So it's going to be Present, and then it'll be the Ghost of Christmas Future. John says, I heard it's another Christmas ghost. Yeah, I hope so. I'm really, I really, really dig those. Those are very, very cool. And they give me material for my Christmas episodes. Your Sinjiner video was good, John. Yeah, John always makes good quality content. Always fun stuff to check in with John's stuff and see what he's up to, what movies he's watching, what him and Thor are eating for dinner, and all the different little customs and kit bashes he's doing. So what's on the watch list tonight, John? Anything good? Thank you, Patrick. So I was normally going to do just a record playing live, but I didn't know if you guys would be able to hear it with the kids next door screaming and yelling. So I just figured I'd sit here and chat with you. Romero Dead triple feature. Damn it. Yeah. Oh, which brings me round. Thank you, John, for reminding me. I said I had a Tom Savini story. So back in the mid 80s, uh, as I said, I'm a big Savini fan. We were talking about the Tales from the Dark Side episode that he directed, and you'd read about Savini. I had the Savini book, which I still have over here somewhere, that he wrote about how he did all the effects and everything along those lines. And I had the Scream Greats video. Fangoria produced two videos on their own. One was on Satanism, the satanic threat, and the other was on Tom Savini. And I had that videotape for years, long gone now. I wish I still had it. But he was supposed to come to a convention in Boston. This is the old creation cons that used to run. They were more Star Trek type cons. And I go there and I'm waiting to get his autograph, and they announce that he can't come because his wife is pregnant and she went into labor on that day. So I'm devastated. But I'm walking around the con and I'm at one booth and I'm talking to a guy, and he says he works on Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead hadn't come out yet, and he's telling me all about it. And he's like, "Yeah, I work on the special effects. I know Tom Savini. I'm a good friend of Tom's. I'm here helping my friend out at his booth." I picked up at that convention a poster of Dawn of the Dead, a movie poster, which I still have, the original movie poster from Dawn of the Dead. But come to find out that this guy was Greg Nicotero. When I see the movie, I'm like, that's the guy I was talking to at the convention. And it was Greg Nicotero. So I met him all those years ago when he was just a kid. I was younger than him. So kind of interesting the way that works. Now he's the big guy, and Tom Savini is sort of, you know, not even well known, but he used to be the king of special effects. Now jump to 10 years later or so in the early 2000s, I'm at a convention in Chicago, Wizard World, and I run into Tom Savini. He's got a booth there, and there is nobody at his booth. There's nobody talking to him. He's got all this stuff up there. He's got Karloff as the Mummy. He's got Chaney as the Phantom of the Opera. He's got his cool busts and stuff. And this is so early in the 2000s that all the celebrities had the pictures printed out, but they were really crappy quality because it was just on crappy paper. The image would be like blurry. I have some autographs of Ken Foray that the picture is just terrible. But he's there, and of course, I want to get an autograph of him as the biker from Dawn of the Dead. And I tell him this story that I just told you guys. I said, when I was a kid in high school, I my dream was to meet you. I loved you. You're the greatest guy in the world, and no one loved you more than I probably did back then. And I knew I didn't. He's just looking at me. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And then he signs a picture, and I go, "You want it made out to anyone?" I said, "Can you make it out to Rich?" Okay. Rich, and he just tosses the picture at me, takes my money. Nothing. No conversation. No, and there's nobody. There's nothing. There's a line of people behind me or anything like that. And I guess I found out. I don't know if it's a social thing he's got or whatever. But he didn't give me the time of day, and I was devastated. Like not even like, oh, that's cool, man. Like I'm glad you like my stuff, or yeah, yeah, that's awesome, dude. Oh, you like Dawn of the Dead, huh? Cool. Yeah, this is a fun movie to make. This is what I did. Like just nothing at all. And I was so devastated because I'd watched that Screen Greats film, and in that film, they make him out to be like he's this joy de vivre. He's jumping around on trampolines. I do stunts and I do effects, and I joke around with the guys on set. It just showed me like how fake some of these Hollywood people could be, because I was so devastated to have finally met him. And I see him at conventions now off and on, and I see pictures of him on YouTube or something like that, and he'll be joking around with someone, and I'm like, that his personality was just, psh, He did the same thing to you, John. Yeah, I don't know what what his story is, man. I could never have been my heart broken. And then there was a convention that I was supposed to go to with a friend, and I couldn't. And Romero was there, and he met Romero, got an autograph from Romero. And I'm like, oh, well, Romero will be back next year, and I'll go then. And Romero died. So I never had a chance to meet Romero, which is disappointing because I really, really loved George Romero at the time. Probably was King, Romero, and Savini were huge in my world. And I always dreamed about what Romero and King's version of Salem's Lot could have been, or what um, their version of The Stand could have been. They were always talking about that they were planning to do a version of The Stand. You could have never done that as a 2-hour movie, anyways. You would have had to do it as a miniseries. But I can only imagine what they would have done with it. Yeah, I guess he does, which is sad because it's sad. All those effects guys, they're there's nothing going on with them nowadays. Well, gentlemen, this has been a lovely chat, gentlemen and ladies. If there's any ladies out there, or fiends or ghouls and gals or whatever you call yourself, this has been a lovely way for me to roll out of Halloween and move into All Saints Day on November here, which is my grandmother's birthday. She passed away many years ago, but I always remembered that November 1st was her birthday. So happy birthday to Gertrude Hart up there in heaven, I suppose. I hope. But I appreciate chatting with all of you guys. I wish we could actually chat face to face here on camera or something like that. I know it's different. It's a one-way conversation with me just droning on and on while you guys are typing your comments in here, and I'm trying to read them all. Um, but I'm gonna work on that episode a little bit, try and get it out for this weekend. And I just want to let you guys know I appreciate you guys. I didn't want to have a crappy Halloween, and you guys made my Halloween sitting here talking to me. It's so enjoyable. It's especially the group of guys that showed up. Demonzilla, that's cool. You met Tom Savini. That sucks. He couldn't take the time to talk to you. I know, man. He really disappointed me. Happy Halloween, everybody from Juan. Happy Halloween from Pat. Happy Halloween with John. The Three Musketeers, along with Big Head Han, who's one of my favorites too. You guys always show up for the chats. You always show up for the Sanctum story times. You always show up when the episodes premiere for the chats, which is my favorite thing. I used to just drop the episodes and see people commented on it. Now I set up special times so that when the episode drops, I can sit here and just chat and hang out with my Monster Brothers. Monster Brothers and sisters. There's some female Sanctum people out there that come in once in a while. Creme de la creme of the interwebs. Oh, Juan, you're so kind. And again, Juan is if you're in any of the Migo communities or the custom communities, he is making some killer stuff out there. And as is everybody, Patrick made a kick-ass unknown soldier that he showed on the Sanctum page one time, and I mean John's just doing it all the time, painting model kits, etc. I'm trying to see if I have anything cool monster wise I can show here. I mean, I got a ton of monster stuff around here, but I just wanted to showcase anything. Oh, I got this guy. Now, Patrick, I blame you for this. So Patrick sent me, which I had been wanting to get, the Arrow edition of Dune, David Lynch's Dune. And I always kind of hated that movie because I'd read the book and I enjoyed it, and the movie was sort of disjointed and whatever. I saw the Arrow edition, and I'm loving the movie. It's not great. Don't get me wrong, but because Lynch was involved in it and Dino De Laurentiis, it's this weird car wreck that's beautiful. And they had a special feature on there about the toys. And I've seen these on the shelves back in the day, and it was whatever. But now I am obsessed with getting the the LJN Dune toys. Uh, I'm hunting them down, box or no box. I mean, who who thought a kid wanted to play with this? That a kid wants, and this is all it does. It just he goes wee. He just raises his arms, and he's got his toenails are painted black. He's got his hairy belly. Uh, you know, pick the figure you want to play with, Johnny. Oh, I'm this guy. I'm Baron Harkonnen. What does he do? I don't know. He he takes insulin. Yeah, well, that's one that I did get, the sandworm right here. This is an entirely different video. If this is taken out of context, this is going to show up on some strange websites. But this is the LJN sandworm. Awesome piece. I love it. Yeah, I'm obsessed with them now, and I have Patrick to blame. So you guys are always, showcasing me some new stuff too. As a matter of fact, Patrick, now I'm not going to shut up again. I was saying goodbye, and now I'm back, and I'm blabbering away again. You showed the Sideshow. Sideshow now has the Universal license, and they're just doing what is it? Statues. And I'm looking at them, and I'm like, this is really cool. And Pat and I kind of talked about this in the comments for a section. But I'm like, how many more Karloff Frankensteins do I need? I've got all the NECA ones. I've got the original Sideshow ones. I've got so many different versions of Karloff as Frankenstein. Give me a Glenn Strange or a Bela Lugosi or even a Lon Chaney Jr. as Frankenstein. I'm burnt out on the Karloff Frankensteins. There was a time you never would have heard me say that. Give me more Karloff. But I think it's as Patrick said, they bought the rights to Karloff. Universal bought the outright rights to Karloff from Sarah Karloff. So that's the IP now. They just always make the Karloff Frankenstein or the Karloff Mummy. We're not seeing any Carices or anything along those lines. But now, see, I started talking again. Now I need to go back to saying goodbye because it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning my time. I am a night owl. I'm a creature of the night. I live among the creatures of the night. Little Laura Branigan for all you guys. Any Laura Branigan fans out there? I'll wait. Hello? Gloria? 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 By the way, I always thought that Gloria was the theme song to the John Cassavetes film Gloria. You can imagine how disappointed I was when I saw Gloria and that song wasn't in there. Good song, good movie. But anyway, I will call it a night at this point. I will wish you all a good Hallows Eve, and be careful going home that you are not caught by the headless horseman. Good night, Juan. Good night, John. Good night, Pat. Good night, Hat. Good night, all. Oh, the spooks have a midnight jamboree. They break it up with fiendish glee. Ghosts are bad, but the one that's cursed is the headless horseman.